Remember though, on Sunday, if for every question that you don't feel comfortable with asking today, on Sunday we have questions and comments from the fans where you guys can ask just about everything under the sun about just about everything from STEM topics to global politics. Y'all can probably ask me about the Epstein list at that time. I don't really care about him, but we can go ahead and cover it if you really want to. But truthfully, like the things that directly impact you, that's what I would like to focus on. And if you guys got questions, I've got answers. That's what we do here. So we will see how well you ladies resonate on the channel because just how last year. Woo, I gotta tell you, we had some high heads. So since we have covered most of the daily news, oh yeah, uh oh no, we'll cover that another time. Cause I was sitting over here thinking about stuff. I was thinking about stuff. Oh no, here I could tell you guys a couple things. Uh, so YouTube is fixing it to where we can not only stream with the 16 by 9, but we can also stream vertically. So coming soon, both options are going to happen at the exact same time. So then those of you that wanted to watch us vertically can go back to watching us vertically, but we can still deal with what we were supposed to deal with. Michael, you were telling me about how the ads pop up and get on your damn nerves, and I completely agree with you. They're doing a side by side ad thing where you can still watch the show and the ads are supposed to be off to the side instead of completely taking you away from the show, which is fantastic. Um, I don't know how that's going to work with the sound because you're going to have the sound for only one sound can play out the speakers at a time, but the YouTube's going to be making changes on that. And then the hype thing. I've had the opportunity to take a look at that hype thing. It doesn't work during a live. They got reaction buttons for during a live to hype the show. And if you guys master reaction buttons while you're watching the show, if you're enjoying the show, that provides more traffic to the show for other people to see the show and then join in and get involved. But at least from the YouTube perspective, after the show, any video that you watch, a long form video or short or something to that effect, more often than not, there is a hype button somewhere near the comment section where you kind of like swipe left and you end up coming across a section that says hype. And if you click that button, cost you no money, but it pushes the algorithm to show to more individuals. So for those individuals who actually like to support the channel on YouTube, you can utilize the hype button to promote the channel for free. I think they give you like 3 hypes per day that you can use. And if you're contributing those towards this particular channel, you show support in your own way. It costs you no money, a little bit of effort, and give us a little bit of a push. If you do, I greatly appreciate it. If you don't, hey, as long as you come to the live and learn something, that's all that really matters. So, oh, before we get started, real quick, highly interactive podcast. So, Twitch, Twitter, y'all got something y'all want to say it. I will get back to you. Just keep it clean. We got some kids that come in here from time to time, not quite at the age of 18. So I want to keep the comment section clean. Otherwise, you don't have to agree with me. You can come to contradict, but my information is fact driven and usually curated and peer reviewed by Michael in real time. So I can't be wrong. So, but if in the event that I am, by all means try to point it out. But I don't get my information where you get your information, so I might have more details than you have access to. Either way it goes, your opinions are your opinions, and I respect them. But I encourage you to jump into the show and tell me what those opinions are. If it don't make sense, you're gonna have to help me make it make sense. But as long as it makes sense, if it's logical, we're good with it. We're good with it. So on to Croatia, because this is gonna be $1 million view that I'm gonna be bringing to you guys. And the rent in this particular type of observation is gonna cost less than a car payment. So for the remainder of the show, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can build a life that feels absolutely luxurious on a Croatian coast for under $2,000 a month, which is pretty good. And the reason why I started giving you guys information on places to go, inflation for one, but a $2,000 standard of living is about $24,000 a month. And in the United States, $30,000 is still considered poverty. Technically, $55,000 right now is technically considered poverty because the upper lower class, lower middle class is the working class, and the working class is upward of about $72,000. So technically, in our society, if you're making less than $1,700 a week, you are poor because the upper lower class is making $1,700 a week, 1765 or 1775 a week, almost $6,000 a month. That's the lower middle class, the upper lower class. But the extreme poverty between 30 and 55,000 a year. So when we give you guys information about countries like Croatia, where you could take poverty level money from the United States and go to another country and live like a king, especially if you're a digital nomad, I give you guys a $2,000 budget because a lot of countries can thrive between 1,000 to 1,500, which gives you an extra $500 a month worth of play money in a country where $22 is a lot of money. $20 is a lot of money. So when we cover these countries, and I'm like, hey, you can do this for $2,000 a month. Guess what? If you've got a $60,000 income and your standard of living in America is less than $30,000, you can maintain your household in America, go live in another country for a year off of your paycheck, take the difference, put it into a stock option, even in the country that you're going to, live like a king in a third world country, and then come back and live your best life in your country. The difference is, though, is that the information that I'm giving you guys works best for digital nomads when you start talking about spending 6 months to a year in another country, because that requires you, if you are stationary in a brick and mortar job, it requires you to quit your job to go live in another country for a year or so. But if you're going to get a job in the other country, you can actually pick up new skills in another country and then come back to America and find you another job. You just have to make sure that you put some money aside to cover the time frame that you're not going to be employed. But if you find a way to start making money on a computer or on your cell phone, and then you're able to take that occupation with you where you're getting paid in a different country, American wages for the service, even though you're not living in America, you can be making 30, 40,000 a year online, get direct deposited into your bank account, and wire transfer it to another country, and you be good to go. You wouldn't have no problems. One of the things I was looking up just last night, because I can't even sit and watch Netflix without doing research. Do you understand? Real quick before I get on to Michael's comment, young bucks these days can't tie their shoe without checking their social media status, without checking somebody else's feed, without reading what's going on somebody else's wall. But I can't look at a movie without picture in picture doing research on something simply because somebody made a statement in the movie. The movie triggered a research situation. I do that much research for y'all. So last night I did research and I come to find out that most countries in Asia have a daily spending limit of around about 50,000 won to 50,000 yen, which for America, that ain't a lot of money, but they have a cap, maximum spending limits of 50,000 a year, wire transfers from foreign exchange. So that, which prevents like fraud and all this other stuff. So any individual that was actually transferring money to the bank, it would be uncontrolled, unregulated, less likely to be reported capital that is being transferred from an offshore account to your account on a regular basis. And this is like personal, not business. As long as it's under $50,000, you're clear. I was like, damn, if I can live like a king for 24,000 a year, I could probably wire myself about $500 a day every day for 12 months until I've reached that 50K. And, and then live off that 24K and be good for 2 years. Damn. Now, Michael said, you sure know to make people feel good being poor. Bro, hey, I'm not here to make people feel good about being poor. I'm here to make people understand that your ass shouldn't be poor if you stop making bad financial decisions in your adult life and start looking for better ways to have an eventful life at a more affordable rate than you would be capable of improving your life to a level where you would be more satisfied with your life. Take, for example, we're going to get to Croatia in just a second, but take, for example, if you got a job, then you start up a side business, your side business start making money. Instead of quitting your first job, if you can manage both of them without burning out, run both of them jobs. The extra money that you don't need, invest that. If you got one job and you're dating a partner that's got a job and y'all decide to live together, you was paying for all the bills by yourself. Now you done moved an extra person into your house. Now you don't have to pay as much as you used to pay. Just because you have less expenses because you got an extra person in your house don't mean that you should stop being financially responsible and budgeting your money wisely and start being wasteful. What it means is that because you got extra money going around, now is the time for you to start putting extra money away for you to invest. That's why I give y'all that same example every week, every day, that two people with a $50,000 a year income, really two people with a $45,000 a year income can make it happen if you living underneath the income of one person. If you making $45,000 per person and y'all lifestyle is, let's say you living in the middle of North Mid America and the standard of living over there is 30,000 in that area. 'Cause that ain't gonna work in California. It's not gonna work in New York, and it's not likely to work in Florida. But let's say you was in like Wisconsin, Wyoming, something like that, Tennessee, Kentucky, something like that, and you managed to have the ability to rock a standard of living of about 30,000 a year, and you was making $45,000 a year on your job. You started dating somebody, y'all moved in together. Both of y'all got a job that's between 35 and $50,000 a year. Between the two of y'all, y'all making 80,000 a year, but the lifestyle you live in is $30,000. If you are pocketing between the two of y'all $40,000 a year more than what you need to spend on your standard of living, you can put that $40,000 a year into a stock market. And I told y'all between the core satellite portfolio and the dividend rotation strategy that you could double, triple, quadruple your money within 10 years. Y'all would be millionaires. Within 20 years, y'all be a multimillionaire. You could quit your job just by staying together for 20 years. Y'all could quit your jobs in 15 years and live off the principal, live off the interest and never touch the principal and not have to work another day in your life. And y'all could spend the rest of y'all lives building on the relationship that you did not have time for when everybody was working double overtime on two jobs. And the fact is that the reason why people are still poor in this country, no matter how many opportunities exist, is because when people get more money, they spend more money. When you get money and then you throw it away to go on a $30,000 vacation just to kick off your shoes and relax your feet, but you're not about to make any type of financial improvement in your life, that's not good for you. If you start making double the money that you used to make, you're not supposed to start spending double the money. Just because you got a promotion on your job, you don't buy you a new car, you don't buy you a new house. If you have to replace the car that you have because your car not working good enough, replace your car. But what we've been talking about, buying cars out the auction. So if you own a car, instead of going to finance another new car, you can just go to the auction and pick you up a second car. That way, if the first car breaks, you got a backup plan. These are the things that people don't think about doing. And you say, well, why have more than one vehicle? Well, because if you own the car, you don't have to have the vehicle registered, and you don't have to have any vehicle that's not registered on insurance. But every vehicle that you have registered must have insurance on it. So if you buy a second car, you park it in your yard in case of an emergency. Then when your car breaks down, you put your car in the shop. You only got to pay the DMV like $30 to change the registration over to another vehicle. And you got a backup plan. which means that if your car breaks, you don't necessarily have to put it into the shop the day that it breaks. You can put your car in the garage, in the backyard, cover it with a tarp, and drive the other car until the second car breaks. Then you could put the cheapest car between the two into the shop and fix that one. As long as you own it, you fix it when you can. But when you financing it, when you leasing it, you gotta keep paying for it or give it back. So when we start telling you guys, Michael said, "Come here is my safe haven on the internet." They're all crazy. You're right. They're reckless. But when I tell you guys about ways to make, save, and invest money, I'm telling y'all about ways to make, save, and invest money because, like we're talking about today with Croatia, y'all about to listen to how y'all can live a better life in another country than the one that you currently live in one of the most expensive places in the world. They call Dubai one of the richest countries in the world because there's very few people there that's poor as fuck. Everybody got so much money to themselves that they're less likely to rob one another. But I know there's a lot of rules and laws and stuff over there that really keeps the organization going. There's less freedom over there, but there's more benefits over there. But over here in the United States, you feel to do everything that you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do here, ideally, as long as Karen don't report you. So, like Michael said, we commit like 3 felonies a day in this country every day on average. That's a statistical average. And the fact is that as long as don't nobody complain about it, it is what it is. But think about the fact that when you decide that you want to improve your standard of living and you decide that you want to start investing for your future, you want to decide to start working towards your retirement. You gotta know what to do. And in order for you to know what to do, because nobody knows what questions to ask until they receive information that makes them start wanting to ask questions. And that's why while we're talking about creation, I want you guys to understand that you got to forget everything that you think you know about budgeting that you didn't get from this show. Forget the idea that a life that is beautiful and fun and enjoyable is completely out of your reach. Because I'm not sitting over here talking about like bare necessity survival. I'm talking about thriving. I'm talking about housekeepers. I'm talking about chauffeurs, tour guides. I'm talking about eating out. I'm talking about, top of the line, whatever. I'm talking about living a decent life or a great life instead of just living from paycheck to paycheck with a stressful life, not knowing if you have enough money to get you through the rest of the month, not knowing if you got enough money to cover all of the things that you know that are about to go down, wondering which situation do you have to put off until tomorrow or just let go and give up on because you can't afford to do it. I'm talking about you having the capabilities of doing whatever it is that you want to do in life within reason because you got more money than what you need to accomplish the things that you're trying to accomplish. And I'm going to show you guys some hidden properties that savvy experts, expats, are snapping up. The ones that aren't on the big flashy websites. And I'm going to be breaking down the day-to-day lifestyles that feels like a permanent vacation, from feasting on incredible seafood for fraction of the cost back home to island hopping on a whim. I mentioned to you guys once before that in order to increase tourism in Asia, that Asia had did this program, and I think it still exists. That once you get to Asia, that people with U.S. passports get free flights from to different countries in Asia. That's gold. You might spend $2,000 to touch down in Taiwan, but then from Taiwan you got Taipei, you got instead what's the other one? You got China, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, and you can bum 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 with one flight out there, and then the return flight back. But everything else you do in between, it's all gravy. And this isn't a fantasy; it's a formula. So by the end of tonight's show, you guys will have a blueprint to make this your reality, which gives you the opportunity to do the research on it, dig into it. So if you've ever dreamed of trading your cubicle for the coast. Make sure that you guys stick around. Hit that like button and subscribe. Hit that follow button if you're on Twitch or Twitter, because this is the sign that you've been waiting for. And I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to let a lot of y'all know right now that for those of you that dove in and started watching, y'all made the conscious choice to see this, because this isn't on the live feed where y'all would have stumbled across it while y'all was scrolling. This popped up on your For You page, and you was like, oh, yeah, Croatia. What's that about? You about to find out. What does it feel like to live like royalty? A question that you've always asked yourself in your mind. You've always thought about. You've imagined it while you watch movies with people living the high life. It's a world that we throw away. We throw this information around, but you got to ask yourself, what does it mean in practice to live like royalty? Because I know that we watch those music videos where the rappers are always talking about spending 100,000 in one night, you know, popping bottles and drinks on the house, and you can do whatever you like, and they give you this imagine. They had a lot of rap songs that if you listen to the lyrics, you'd be like, wow, they're like stuck, but they come off of the image that they make money. They go to work and they make money, but they don't do anything responsible with it. They get paid, but their bills don't. You know, that's not what we're talking about. That's not really living a life of royalty. That's living a life of wastefulness and irresponsibility, but that's not living a life of royalty. Living a life of royalty, everything is covered. Your whole standard of living is taken care of. All of your responsibilities are taken care of. You might even have CPAs and tax lawyers handling all your books so that you're legally covered in situations where you ain't got to worry about being audited by the IRS or sitting in some kind of legal court of any kind of reason for any kind of reason. But you ask yourself, is that royalty situation something like crowns and castles from back in the day? Or is it something deeper? Because when I think about it, it's about having sovereignty over your own time. It's about waking up not to an alarm clock, but to gentle sounds of church bells and chimes in an old, century old village. And the scent of salt water on the breeze, palm trees, or other type of exotic plants just hanging out, sipping something sweet next to something bitter, getting your swag on. It's about the freedom to design your days around pleasure, not just obligations, not this long itinerary of things you want to accomplish before you go, where you are back to back, hour by hour, always on the run. I'm talking about being able to roll out of bed whenever you feel like it, get breakfast at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, start trying to figure out what you're going to do for the day, going and doing something entertaining overnight, going back and relaxing at the house, no stress, sleep whenever you sleep, wake up whenever you wake up, and money is making money for you throughout that entire time. Here in Croatia, that's going to be the feeling that starts the moment that you open your eyes. So imagine this: your bedroom window. You look out not onto a brick wall or an overpass, or look out and see your neighbor in their underwear trying to get the mail again. Not that, but onto a shimmering Adriatic sea. Just all water, little bit of sand, blue skies, couple clouds, real tall coconut trees. Just imagine it. The water is a shade of blue so intense it almost looks fake. Walk up on it, completely transparent. You can see the bottom. We don't get that here in America. You know what it's like to look through the water? Now, I'm not talking about the shallow shit. I'm talking about the deep end. I'm talking about the other side with the coral reefs and stuff. Little fishing boats putter out for the day to catch stuff. Their engines and soft hums in the distance. This isn't a view that you get for 1 week a year. This is the type of experience that you want to see every single morning. You don't rush. There's no frantic scramble to get ready, no battling traffic. Instead, you wander out to your balcony with a cup of strong, freshly brewed coffee, preferably from uh, Two Harbors Coffee. It'll be a good. I drink their coffee every day. Actually, I got to go get me another case. But the sun, warm, soothing on your skin, but not yet hot. The air is clean. And y'all know a lot of us don't know nothing about that. Carrying the scent of pine trees and blooming bougainvilleas from gardens nearby. This is the Pomelo lifestyle that you hear whispers about. It's a Dalmatian coast philosophy that roughly translates to taking it easy, a relaxed pace, what is called the slow pace, where stress just seems to melt away. People here prioritize connections, spending hours with friends over a single cup of coffee, not to be productive, but just to be present. After your coffee, you take a stroll, not through a concrete jungle, but down winding cobblestone streets polished smooth by centuries of footsteps. You pass ancient Roman palaces, medieval fortresses, and charming stone houses with brightly painted shutters. The local bazaar or open air market is already bustling. Of course, because you got up in the middle of the fucking day. The vendors whose families have likely been farming this land for generations greet you with a warm dobro jutro. Good morning. Dobo, dobro jutro. You're not an anonymous face in the supermarket. You're part of the community. You see the vibrant red of fresh tomatoes, the deep purple of figs, and the chivalry glint of sardines caught just hours ago. Goes well on a pizza. You buy a loaf of crusty bread, still warm from the oven, some local cheese, and a handful of olives. This isn't a special occasion. It's just Tuesday's grocery run. The afternoon is yours. Maybe you decide to go for a swim. The beaches here aren't just stretches of sand, they are hidden coves and pebble shores lapped by water so clear that you can see every single stone on the seabed and probably walk down there and go grab a few. You can spend hours just floating, the sun on your face, with the world's worries a million miles away. Or perhaps you feel more adventurous. You can hop on a ferry for a few euros and explore nearby islands, each with its own character. From the lavender fields of Havar to the lush forest of Miljet. Maybe you find a quiet spot on a rocky ledge, pull out a book, open this podcast, Read until the sun dips towards the horizon. Watch some of the reruns on the show until the stars come out, painting the sky with fury and fiery shades of orange and pink and reddish colors till it fades into darkness with different shades of blue and purple and black. This is the dream part of the equation. It's a life rich in experiences, not just possessions. It's a lifestyle that would be an impossible luxury in many parts of the world. But here on the Adriatic coast, it's accessible. So the secret isn't earning more money, it's moving your life to a place where the money that you already make is worth more. More peace, more beauty, more time, more freedom. Now, let's talk about how we make this dream a reality. Let's talk numbers, because here on this and that, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, we don't just sit here and talk bullshit. I'm giving you some statistical facts. So, as I love to do, let's go ahead and pull that curtain back, and we're going to address a life of sea views and fresh figs, sounds of wonderful and enjoyable coastline experiences. But what does it actually cost? This is where the dream meets the spreadsheet. And I am going to show you how a budget of under $2,000, roughly 1,850 euros at the time of tonight's show, is for living exceptionally well. Now remember, the goal is to stay inside of 1,850 euros, which is about $2,000 today. So, for reference, many experts and locals suggest that a budget of 1,500 euros to 2,000 euros is enough to live comfortably in Croatia. And we're talking about 1850, which is like $150 less. So, from my experience, they're absolutely right based on what I've done research on. While this might not be 100% like limousine rides and shit by the local millionaire standards, it supports a fantastic quality of life. The single biggest factor is going to be your budget. And this will be where you choose to live and when, because prices in Dubrovnik in August are a world away from prices in a smaller town like Zadar or Rajika in October. The key is to live like a local, not like a tourist, because you could go there during tourist season when everything is inflated in price, pay tourist prices in tourist locations, or you can sneak off to some of the rural areas and live a little bit closer to local life. You can still live an American style lifestyle, but if you live it outside of the tourist area, it costs a whole lot less to get a whole lot more. So this is the cornerstone of your budget. So in most Western cities, rent devours almost 68% of your income. In Croatia, it's where you'll see the most dramatic savings. So what kind of throne can you get? Forget cramped apartments. We're talking about beautiful, spacious, and often fully furnished places. For a one bedroom apartment in a desirable coastal city, something like Split, that's the name of the city, Split, you can expect to pay between 500 and 750 euros per month, especially if you're looking slightly outside the main tourist core or during the off season. In fantastic, vibrant cities like Rajika, a spacious one bedroom. can be found for 400 to 700 euros. That's cheap. Americans can't find a parking space for $700. Landlord charge you an extra $100 to park your car. Let's put that into perspective. So I'm talking about a life where your house cost would be as low as 400 to $500. Yeah. Some of y'all like, she, that's my whole paycheck. But that's one of two or three or four of them. You know what I'm saying? What would you do with all the extra money that you would have for the rest of the month if your whole cost was 500 off the top? Now, how do you find these deals? The trick is to avoid looking during the high seasons from June to August. This is when everything is priced for tourists and rents can be sky high during this situation. The savvy expats arrive in September or October when the crowds are gone, the weather is still gorgeous, and the landlords who were renting apartments for $150 a night are now looking for a stable long term tenant. So instead of you getting that exact same spot for the price of a hotel, now you're spending $150 for the whole month. You'll find these deals on local creation websites like Ninjutskilo. I don't know if I said that right. Anybody from Croatia, let me know. Juice Kalo, if the N is silent. You can also find Facebook groups for expats or simply walk around seeing a sign that says, oh my goodness, that looked like jumbo. Is Najamlanjuni se. I don't know if I said that right, but means for rent. I ain't even gonna try to repeat that a second time. And then take the number off the sign, make a call. During the winter from October to March, it is possible to find a beautiful city center apartment for as low as 500 euros. For our budget, let's be conservative and say that we find a great one bedroom apartment in a good local area for about 650 euros, which is about $700 a month. That's like 25% of the cost of most people's rent here in America. Now, this is a very realistic figure for a comfortable modern place. And this is your foundation. As you can see, it leaves a massive chunk of our $2,000 budget intact because you still got $1,300 left, 1,300 US dollars left. The next pillar of your lifestyle is going to be food because in Croatia, the food is a revelation. The country has incredible natural resources from the Adriatic Sea to fertile inland plains, meaning high quality fresh ingredients are the norm. And if you can find a local that can cook it for you, you ain't even got to try to figure it out. Your main strategy is going to be to embrace the local markets or the bazaar. This is where you will find seasonal fruits and local vegetables, local honey and homemade olive oil, fresh cheese, and the cured meats. The fish market, the Rabarnikia, is an experience in itself with glistening sea bass, shrimp, and squid brought in by local fishermen hours before, which means that you can actually meet new people, interact with different types of industries, and not only potentially find you some investment opportunities, but get you some really good deals in the process. So let's look at the typical shopping list with 2025 prices. Liter of milk in Croatia is around a dollar and two euros, which is less than like a dollar 50 in American. Fresh loaf of bread is about €1.58. Dozen eggs is $3. That's cheap. Kilogram of chicken is between $6 and $10. A kilogram of fresh apples is about $1.39. A bottle of very good local wine could be found for $6. What if you found good wine for $6 in America? Usually the good wine is like actually $15 to $20, sometimes $45. But you can eat healthy, delicious diets for a fraction of what you would have cost in North America. Generous monthly grocery bill for one person would be around 350 euros, which is about $375. You couple that with the $750 that you spent for the rent, you're only $1,025 into your money. And this is a budget for grilled fish with lemon and herbs, not instant noodles. There's some of y'all that have made y'all peace with ramen noodles all your life because the ramen noodles are 35 cents. Think about those of y'all that's got the, I done dropped my water, that's got the ramen noodles with the hot dogs sprinkled with some cheese on it. You done spent $5, and that's your life. But talk about some sea bass sprinkled with lemon juice in Croatia. What about dinner though? Again, a coffee at the seaside cafe costs about $1.20 to $3. Starbucks is like $15 with a venti cup. You can get a huge slice of pizza or a satisfying pasta dish for 8 to 15 euros. For a proper meal, look for a canobaya, a canoba. That's what it's called, canoba, at your traditional tavern, where a main course is around 20 euros. That's like price of Chili's. A nice three-course meal for two at a mid-range restaurant can cost between 35 and 60 euros. Yeah. Olive Garden, two people, buy one, get one free. Now, let's say that you go out for coffee again a few times a week, have a casual lunch out once a week, enjoy a nice dinner twice a month. Comfortable budget for this would be something around 250 euros or $270. Now, you just walked into about $1,065, I do believe. So right now you're right around 1330, still inside of that $2,000 budget. Many Croatian coastal towns are incredibly walkable. So unless you have physical mobility issues, you got a good way to get you some exercise and work off that belly fat. Get rid of them thunder thighs. Do you some squats, get you some tones in. But you can live in places like Split, Zadar, or Rovinji and do most of your daily errands on foot. Bring you some comfortable shoes, but you'll get there when you get there. When you need to go further, public transportation is efficient as well as affordable. And the monthly bus pass in the city is in a place like Split costing between 40 and 60 euros. A single ticket is typically under 2 euros. But if you're looking for a month pass, that's cheaper than Heartline. It's 40 to 60 euros. The country is also connected by cheap long distance buses and ferries. But the real value here is the abundance of world class activities that are free as well as cheap. So they're free or cheap, but they're almost little or no cost. The Adriatic Sea is going to be your gem, your hiking trails. When they're going to wind through national parks and along breathing coasts, your entertainment is exploring UNESCO, and that's going to be a World Heritage Site. Not a lot of people really think about that. And then you're going to be discovering hidden beaches that weren't even on the original map that you saw on Google. A day spent swimming and sunbathing on a beautiful beach costs nothing. A hike up Marjan Hill in Splint for a panoramic view is free. And if you are a good photographer and you bring your camera, you might get paid for hanging out there, taking photos of all them good moments. exploring Zadar's old town and listening to the magical sea organs as the sun sets completely free. Don't this start sounding like a MasterCard commercial? Hike up the beach, $5 because of the drinks. Swim on the thing, tour guide, $20. Swim down the ocean, $18. Doing this with someone you love, priceless. Sign up for MasterCard. I love those commercials because I'll be like, bro, females don't pay for none of that shit. Don't hate me, ladies. It's true. If you cute enough, most of that shit get free in the summer. But sometimes you got to pay them to leave you alone. But let's get back to the main topic. Allocate the budget for the category of hanging out and having a good time. That's going to include a monthly transportation pass and a few ferry trips or a park entrance fee. Something like €100, which is like $108. More than enough to feel like you have the freedom to explore. Financial categories cover the uh, practicalities because your utilities, electricity, water, gas for a 65 square meter apartment, something around €110. Though heating costs can push this higher in the wintertime, Croatia has an excellent high speed internet with unlimited data plans for around €35 a month. A mobile plan with plenty of data is something around 20 to 25. Health insurance is crucial. Croatia has a public system and they also have private options. So for foreigners, if you are looking for something like that available, and generally you can go get it and find it cheaper than what you can find in the United States, unless you find one of them free marketplace programs and it still got you doing a copay. Let's bundle it all together. Utilities, €110, internet, mobile phone, €60, health insurance, €80, miscellaneouses for household items, personal care products, the pink tax, razors, whatever you're trying to get, €100 brings your total for taking care of things, 375 US dollars or €350. Grand total. You got your house for 600, groceries for 375, dining out for 270, transportation for 108, utilities and other miscellaneous stuff about another 1700. You have just covered $1,828 of the $2,000 that you took with you. Now, you can use the other $80 to splurge on transportation to walk less or get a cab or tip for the food so that you don't seem cheap, but you're under $2,000. And this is for one person. Now, if you brought a second person, especially if you brought a partner and y'all were sharing the same one bedroom, you would save $700 on the second person. We've talked about the dinner for two, so you would save $60 on the second person. So you're likely to save almost $1,000 on bringing a second person. So your $2,000 a month for one person might be 3,000 for two, and it might be 4,000 for two adults and one child. Where a family of three in America is not thriving off of $4,000 a month in most states in the United States. As you can see, we're comfortably under that $2,000 budget. And this isn't a shoestring budget. It's a budget for a life of comfort, abundance, and joy. It leaves you with a buffer of almost $200 every month for extra travel, savings, or splurging. And this proves that with the right strategy, a life that feels extraordinary is not only possible, but practical. So the dream is real and the numbers add up. Now, let's get into the how. This is your action plan to turn this vision into your life. It requires some planning and a local first mindset, but it's still doable. Step one, time your arrival. I cannot stress this enough. Your success depends on when you look. Do not try to find a long term rental in June, July, or August. The market is geared toward tourists, and you'll pay 3 to 4 times the actual value. The golden window is from late September to November. So the tourist season is already over. The weather is still beautiful, and the landlords are eager to find reliable tenants. You will have more options, better prices, and more bargaining power. Because if you find 3 places to go, you take the cheapest one. Next, you're going to be doing for step 2 how and where to find your place. Forget the big international rental platforms. Use the resources that Croatians use. That Juscalo.hr. This is Croatia's version of Craigslist and the top site for long-term apartment listings. Use Google Translate to search for Dugro Shin Na Jam, means long-term rent. I don't know if I said that correctly, but I tried. If you speak Croatian, jump on here and try to say something. Facebook groups have searches that you can go to for things like expats and split or digital nomad Croatia. And these communities are individual and very invaluable to provide leads and advice on where to go and where to get what to do. Real estate agencies, that's another one. Local agencies can help with the paperwork and language barriers, but often charge a little bit of a fee, sometimes equal to 1 month's rent. So if you can do it yourself, try. But putting boots on the ground, very best thing to do. No substitution for that though. Rent an Airbnb for a month in the off season. Walk around neighborhoods looking for Isnanjan Lamjus GC. I'm really sure that's one of y'all jump up here and pronounce this word. I'm gonna throw it into the comment section so that y'all can see what the heck I'm trying to pronounce. Y'all gonna be like, did the person who typed that up just threw that in there and just did not care about spelling the word correctly? This is the word, y'all. I'm not joking. Look at that right there. What you got? Isna ja mla junji si. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Somebody help me out. But that's what it's spelled like. Michael, copy and paste and stick it in Google and be like, what? And let it pop that up. That word means for rent. You're gonna see those signs in the window when you're passing by. Stick that word in the Google Translate. See what it tells you. When you go and try to follow up on that, you get the opportunity to talk to people, meet new people, learn new things. And personal connections can unlock more doors than a website ever can. The next one, step 3, you're going to negotiate like a local. Don't be afraid to haggle, especially in the off season. Landlords prefer a guaranteed income over an empty property. Offer to pay in advance, offering 2 or 3 months of rent up front that shows that you're serious, that you're going to be here for a while. Sign a longer lease. If you're willing to see a 12-month lease, sign it. They may lower the monthly price. Then you have to be a good tenant. Don't be throwing beer cans all over the place and acting like this is American pie. Don't be sitting over here trying to tear the place down like road trip. You got to follow my mama's old sayings. Leave it better than how you found it. Emphasize that you are a quiet, responsible professional, not a short-term party goer. This is going to lock you in with better safeguards. This step number 4, you want to understand the visa situation. This is the most crucial piece of homework for you. For non EU citizens, the Croatia Digital Nomad Visa, technically a temporary residence permit, is your golden ticket. Here are the key things to know as things have gotten in 2025. It allows you to stay for up to 12 months and maybe be extendable. Crucially, some interpretations state that it is not renewable immediately, and you must leave Croatia for at least 6 months before you can reapply. You must prove that you're going to be working remotely for a foreign company or are self-employed with foreign clients. So whatever clientele that you have can't be coming from Croatia, even if you have a clientele that you're getting paid from online. You must meet an income requirement, which, as of mid 2025, is set at about 3,295 euros per month, which is more than the the 2,000 euros or $2,000 that we were talking about getting. It's actually 1.5 times more almost in comparison to the standard of living that you were trying to get at. But if you were trying to get a $1,800 euro lifestyle, which would be like 1,000 $600 less than the 3,200 euro expectation, you would have an extra $1,600 to invest in something else to start generating you more revolving capital. Alternatively, you can show savings of at least 39,540 euros to cover a 12-month stay. Even if you didn't plan on staying for 12 months, you can get that and leave whenever you feel like it. But having a 40,000 euro savings, that means you have a little over 40,000 US dollars in savings. They'll take you in. That's we was talking about getting 68 to 120,000, 68,000 for 6 months of living in the United States is what we was talking about doing when we said set up your emergency fund. And Croatia is 49,000 for 12 months. Think about that. You'll also need a clean criminal background check, proof of health insurance, and a rental contract. So if you got all that, you're good to go. The process can be a little bit tricky, so it's highly recommended to consult a local relocation specialist who can guide you through all of the paperwork. It's a small investment that can save you a world of headaches. And if you're doing this through your LLC or your C corporation, any specialist that you have to utilize to set up business in another country can potentially lead to a tax write-off. Because as long as your business is stationed out of America, America's gonna want their cut. And you can get you some deductions because you paid for a specialist to help you to expand the international business. Making sure that you shop seasonally, one of the better things to do. Eat what's fresh at the local markets. It's cheaper and tastes 1,000 times better than anything that was frozen and preserved later on. Learn a little bit of Croatian. It is always encouraged if you ever go to another country that you want to try to learn some of the basic communication. And then while you're there, you want to reinforce the understanding of your communication by having communication with other people in their language. Now, Mr. Pibbs was telling me the other day about some translation headphones. I've been looking at them on Temu for a while. He got his from TikTok Shop. He's supposed to be able to tell me over the next couple days if the translation headphones do in fact work. I would love to get them, not just so that I could talk to somebody in a different language, but so that I can watch my non-dubbed Korean flicks. I don't understand the words that is coming out of their mouth, but I dang sure know that they got some drama going on in them shows, boy. You be all up in it. They be and you don't understand shit that's going on. But you're like, oh snap, she called him. Oh snap, he just confessed his love to her. Oh snap, found out that his best friend loved her too. You like, oh man, love triangle. Every show's got a love triangle and three backstories. Man, I'm telling you, gotta watch some of those Korean films. The international movies. So just like I say, international investing, international entertainment. You gotta expand your horizons. But the language of Croatian is Havala, which is thank you, and Dobardan, which is good day. Learning those two words and how to pronounce them correctly goes a long way. If you don't know how to say nothing else, saying thank you and have a good day is fantastic. Now, you could try to be slick and learn the other thing. Enjoy the next 24 hours of your day. Yeah, sounds a little bit intimidating. Drinking the tap water. This is gonna save you a little bit of money. I know that we don't trust our tap water in America because they be using recycled water, and they don't do a good job of recycling the water. But drink the tap water over in Croatia. The tap water is perfectly safe and delicious. I would boil it on the stove first, skim the skim off the top, and then take the rest of it and pour it into a water filter container, and then pour it into my cup. But you do whatever you want to do. Discover lesser known areas. That's going to be another thing you want to do while you're out there. Consider gems like Zadar, Sepenkeek, or the Istrain Peninsula. So Zadar, Sebenik, or the Istran Peninsula. They offer a slightly lower cost of living and more authentic local experiences. And then see a bigger picture. Invest in as many opportunities as you can afford to get your hands on without going broke. Once you settled in, you might start seeing Croatia not just as a place to thrive and live, but a place to invest and build. Many expats discover that the same factors that make the lifestyle affordable also create incredible business opportunities. Real estate is a huge one in most countries around the world. Beyond just renting, many people are buying and renovating old stone houses, especially in less tourist regions. These restoration projects can be a very cost effective and result in a very valuable asset for resale or rental income. I personally would use it as rental income more than I would use it for a buy and resell, buy, repair, resell, because consistent capital coming in from multiple sources is more beneficial for you over the long term than it is for you to continue investing effort into trying to find the next place to collect, to hold it for a short period of time, to get rid of it for a decent quantity of money that barely covers the spread from one sale to the next. The booming digital nomad market has also created a new demand for short and medium term rentals, and the equipment for remote workers will be included in those rentals. And this opens up opportunities for managing opportunities, properties, subtitling, subletting, investing, and ready to rent apartments. Now, it's not just about property. A lot more going on in creation because creation's tech is rapidly growing. This scene, especially in hubs like Zagreb and Split, are offering new angles for networking and collaborations, or even launching up your own startup if you went out there on a business trip and you're trying to start up a business. Finally, you want to think outside the box because they have innovative opportunities that are everywhere in Croatia. People are investing in sustainable tourism ventures that preserve Croatian's natural beauty. Others are focusing on smart, sustainable renovations like adding solar panels to old homes. And with its incredible climate, niche agriculture like producing high end olives, lavender, or even truffle farming in Istria is another path that people are taking to build a business that is tied to the land. This isn't just a dream, it's a plan. By following these steps, you are strategically engineering a better life. The journey to your new life on the Adriatic starts with a single step. Now, I want to make sure that you guys think about this. If anything in tonight's show sparks something in you, I want you to do me two things right now. First, I want you guys to make sure that you go and hit that subscribe button, mash those reaction buttons, and then hit the notification button for tomorrow night's show. Because the next one that we're going to be doing a deep dive on for next week and a few weeks down the line is deep dives into the property market and exploring pros and cons of buying versus renting, because you don't want to miss out on any opportunity that would make you successful. Second, you want to drop any questions in the comment section about what really gets you going for this. Are you wondering about the best island for retirees, or are you wanting to know what's a good place to take you a vacation on one of the private island resorts in Croatia? Let me know. I'll send you a link. The easiest way to get the digital nomad visa, if you want to know about that, if you wanted to know about the best local dishes that you have to try when you go out there, make sure that you ask away. I read as many of the comments as I can in a single day, and I'm always responding to everybody's comment that I read. We want to build a community of people who are serious about making their dreams come true. That's the goal. I give you guys the tools that you need to make yourselves more successful. We started with the simple premise: building an incredible life in one of the most beautiful places on the earth for less than the cost of a small apartment in most major cities. We've gone from the dream, the sun, the sea, the pomelo lifestyle to the poof. The proof is breaking down the numbers to show that the budget under $2,000 a month is for a life of genuine comfort and pleasure. Now, we've uncovered the secrets of the savvy expat hunting for your home during off season as a priority, using local resources, and embracing the rhythm of Croatian life. We've come to see that your home base can be secured for a fraction of what you're likely paying right now in the United States or the west side of the country, west side of the world. I've imagined feasting on the freshest Mediterranean foods and exploring ancient towns, all within that modern budget that we were talking about. So this is about building a life, starting a family profession, preferably, and that life where your daily view is the Adriatic Sea, where your biggest decision is which hidden cove to swim in this time around, and where your community greets you with a smile. It's about reclaiming your time, reducing your stress, and enriching your soul. The path is clear and the numbers are real. The only questions that you have left after doing your research is, what are you waiting for? When do you plan on taking that opportunity to make yourself more successful so that you can afford to take that trip to another location and make it do what it do? Now, I want to say thank you guys for coming to tonight's show. I'm going to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you, ladies, to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, like I told y'all at the top of the hour, I gave y'all this information to help you guys become higher value men so that you guys can improve your financial life, so that your financial life can give you less stress in your personal life, making better decisions in your personal life so that your at home drama doesn't negatively impact your employment. We're giving you opportunities, we're giving you new information, we're giving you what ifs that you can dig into so that you can come to understand exactly what else is out there so that you can start asking the right questions. All you got to do is take the time to come and like and subscribe and show up every day for the different topics that we have coming out every night of the week. Now, ladies, like I told y'all all day long, this is a 61% male driven podcast from the male's perspective, but ladies, y'all's input is highly important. So we want you guys to chime in. You girls come chime in. Same rules apply. If you are proactively putting forth the effort to change the things in your life that you do not like, instead of being upset, frustrated, angry, triggered about the things that your partner's saying, you can get up off your behind and make yourself successful. That's why it's called making yourself successful. It's not having success handed to you. It's not inheriting sex by surprise in a letter. It's about going for it, getting it, and maintaining it. Making yourself a higher value person so that you can find a higher valued mentality person to grow with. Because like I told you earlier tonight, is that two of y'all putting y'all money together at 30 to 40,000 a year, y'all end up with closer to 60,000 between the two of you. And if all your landlord is looking for is 64, and you can cross that bridge, you're in there like swimwear. So let's start trying to take it upon ourselves to look at what we're going to be trying to assign ourselves for our 20-year plan. Since we're getting so close to the end of the year, we want to balance the budget and get through this part. But then the next part is all about putting it all aside to make our later greater. That's one of the things as key points and key focuses for us. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys go. I want you guys to take the opportunity to share this with a friend, share this with somebody that you know that can use it, somebody that you know that benefits from it. And I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command.